We were a little surprised by this statement, especially where he made it. I can imagine that it might come as a bit of a surprise to see a general, the head of the French army, make some rather worrying remarks before a congress of French mayors. On French generals' comments, would you be willing to make that kind of sacrifice? Losing a child or grandchildren, as far as I'm concerned, of course not. I think he should not have said that. We're in an excessively anxiety-provoking period, and from an economic point of view, it's very bad because we find that people save a lot. And this is going to force people to save even more because they're going to be in an atmosphere of fear, and it's going to be very anxiety-provoking. In fact, in the end, I don't think it was the right thing to say, and on top of that, talking about children. I think it's a shame that in 2025, with digital advances, we're still seeing human beings waging war, and that we're not finding compromises, whether through diplomacy or trade, making international peace rather than fighting, like in the Middle Ages, like people who haven't evolved. I was a bit puzzled by this, in the sense that these statements are not common, especially by a chief of staff of the armed forces, it seems to me. After that, there's cause for concern, given that it's the 18-27-year-olds who are affected, it seems to me. And inevitably, we can ask ourselves questions about what we're going to become. We're not prepared, so it's something that's hard to imagine. I think that if we have to go anyway, in any case, we have to make a reason, but right now I don't see myself, if I am told tomorrow to go to the front, to go. I can understand why the general might ask. From then on, of course, there's no need to get worked up. But we're not in the calmest period Europe has ever known, with an American ally so uncertain and fragile in relation to Russia that it can be worrying. And when I was 20, I wondered whether at some point there won't be another war. Here we are. I think it's sad, but that's his role. He's a general, he's head of the army. It's his job to say that. I think it's not. It's not a very smart thing for him to say at a time like this, but it's obvious. Anyway, there have always been wars, and that's that.
Do you think there's a Russian threat out there today?
Maybe not Russian, but there's a threat. In any case, it's clear that there are big problems, and wars have always solved economic problems. In addition, we have a demography far too important, but Russian, not particularly.
En plus, on a une démographie beaucoup trop importante. Enfin, mais russe, pas particulièrement.